Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, and if you drive on any motorway in this country, I need you to listen carefully to what I am about to say, because the rules have changed, the cameras have been upgraded, and drivers are being hit with fines they did not see coming, for things they did not even know were illegal. This is not about speeding, this is not about running a red light at a junction. This is about 5 specific motorway rules that are now being enforced with automatic cameras, and every single one of them carries a fixed penalty, points on your license, and in some cases, the loss of your license altogether. Most drivers have no idea. They are driving the way they have always driven, on the M25, on the M1, on the M6, on smart motorways across the country, and they are picking up fines in the post that they cannot challenge because the camera caught them and the law is clear. I have gone through the current highway code, the smart motorway enforcement guidance, the penalty structures, and the camera systems that are now in operation, and I am going to walk you through all 5 rules today so that you know exactly what has changed, exactly what the penalties are, and exactly what you need to do differently the next time you join a motorway. Before I get into it, I want to say something to those of you who are already subscribed. Thank you. You understand how this works. When enforcement changes, when camera systems are upgraded, when a new stretch of motorway goes live with automatic detection, the Highways Agency does not send you a personal letter. They do not put a warning on the slip road. They install the cameras, switch them on, and start issuing penalties. The drivers who subscribe to this channel find out what has changed before they get on the road. The drivers who do not subscribe find out when the envelope arrives. If you are watching this and you are not yet subscribed, 1 tap is all it takes, no cost, and it could save you a fine, points, or your license. Now there are 5 rules on this list, and I need you to stay until the end, because number 5 is the one that carries the highest penalty, it is the one that is ending driving careers overnight, and it is the one that almost every driver I speak to believes does not apply to the thing they are doing. It does. Let us get into it. The first rule is the one that catches more drivers on smart motorways than any other, and it is the one that most people still believe is advisory. It is not. When you drive on a smart motorway and you see a speed limit displayed on the overhead gantry, that number is not a suggestion. It is not guidance. It is a legally enforceable speed limit from the moment it is displayed, and it is enforced by cameras that are mounted on those same gantry structures. The system is called HADEX, which stands for Highway Agency Digital Enforcement Camera System. And unlike a traditional speed camera that catches you at a single point, HADEX cameras can work in sequence across multiple gantries, meaning you can be caught and fined at more than one point on a single journey. Every offence is treated separately. If you pass 3 gantries at 50 miles per hour in a 40 zone, that is 3 separate offences, 3 separate fines of £100 each, and 3 separate lots of 3 penalty points. 9 points from 1 journey. That is not a hypothetical. It is happening to drivers every single week. The variable speed limit exists because the motorway is actively managed in real time, responding to congestion, incidents, breakdowns, or dangerous conditions ahead that you cannot yet see. When the sign says 40, it means 40. When it says 50, it means 50. Not 60, not 55. The number on the gantry. Obey it from the moment it appears above your lane, and do not accelerate until you see the national speed limit sign, confirming the restriction has been lifted. 1 journey obeying the gantry could save you hundreds of pounds and your license. The second rule involves a sign that every driver has seen but a disturbing number choose to ignore, the red X. When a red X appears on an overhead gantry above a lane on a smart motorway, that lane is closed. It does not matter that the lane looks empty. It does not matter that you cannot see a reason for the closure. It does not matter that the car in front of you has driven straight through it. That lane is closed, and driving in it is a criminal offence. The reason the lane is closed may be a broken down vehicle ahead that is not yet visible to you. It may be a person standing in the road. It may be debris. It may be an emergency vehicle approaching from behind at speed. Whatever the reason, the cameras that enforce variable speed limits also detect vehicles travelling in a lane marked with a red X, and they issue penalties automatically. The minimum penalty is £100 and 3 penalty points. In serious cases, where a driver is prosecuted rather than given a fixed penalty, the fine can rise to £2,500 with a discretionary driving ban. When you see a red X above a lane, move out of that lane safely and immediately. Do not wait to see why it is closed. Do not assume it is an error. Move. One lane change could save you a fine, your points, and quite possibly your life or the life of the person the closure was protecting. The third rule is the one that affects you the moment something goes wrong with your vehicle on a smart motorway, and it is the one where the old instincts that kept you safe for decades can now put you in serious danger. On a traditional motorway, if your car broke down, you pulled onto the hard shoulder, got out of the vehicle, climbed up the bank, and waited for help. On an all-lane running smart motorway, there is no hard shoulder. The space where the hard shoulder used to be is now a live traffic lane, and vehicles are traveling through it at speed. If you break down in a live lane on a smart motorway, you must put your hazard lights on immediately, stay in the vehicle with your seatbelt fastened, and call 999. Do not get out of the car, do not try to walk to the verge, do not try to push the car to the left. The control center monitors the motorway through cameras and will set a red X over your lane to stop traffic approaching from behind. If you can still move the vehicle, even slowly, your goal is to reach an emergency refuge area. These are the orange-marked laybys set into the left-hand verge, spaced at intervals along smart motorway sections. Once you are in a refuge area, you are off the live carriageway and safe to get out of the vehicle and use the emergency telephone. Know where the next refuge area is. Look for the signs. They are marked with an orange SOS symbol and the distance to the next one. If you can limp to it, do so. If you cannot move at all, stay in the car, hazards on, seatbelt on, and call 999. That is the procedure. It feels counterintuitive. Every instinct tells you to get out and get away from the vehicle. On a smart motorway, staying inside is the safer option until the lane behind you is closed. The fourth rule is one that has technically been on the books for years, but is now being actively enforced using unmarked police vehicles, dashcam evidence, and even HGV-mounted cameras positioned above the traffic flow. It is middle lane hogging. If you are driving on a 3-lane or 4-lane motorway, and you are sitting in the middle lane when the left-hand lane is empty, you are committing an offence. The highway code is explicit. You must drive in the left-hand lane unless you are overtaking. The middle lane is for overtaking vehicles in the left lane. The outside lane is for overtaking vehicles in the middle lane. When you have completed your overtake, you move back to the left. That is the rule. It is not advice. It is not a guideline for advanced drivers. It is the law, and the fixed penalty for failing to observe it is £100 and 3 penalty points. The same penalty applies to tailgating, which is following the vehicle in front too closely, and to aggressive lane changing. Unmarked police vehicles are actively patrolling motorways specifically to identify these behaviours, and the footage from their onboard cameras is being used to issue penalties by post. You do not need to be pulled over, you do not need to be spoken to. The camera records the offence, the vehicle is identified, and the penalty arrives at your home. Drive in the left lane unless you are overtaking. Leave sufficient distance between you and the vehicle ahead. 2 seconds in dry conditions, 4 in the wet. These are not just safety tips, they are enforceable laws. Now here is the 5th rule, the one I told you to stay for, and I need every driver watching this to hear this clearly, because this one carries the highest penalty on this entire list, and it is the one that drivers convince themselves does not apply to what they are doing. It does. It is now illegal to touch your mobile phone for any reason while you are driving. Not just to make a call, not just to send a text, any reason. If you pick up your phone to change a song, that is an offence. If you glance at it to check the time, that is an offence. If you swipe away a notification, if you check a map, if you look at a photograph someone has sent you, if you unlock the screen for half a second, every single one of those actions is a criminal offence under the current law. The penalty is £200 and 6 penalty points. Not 3, 6. For a driver who has held their licence for less than 2 years, 6 points means automatic revocation. Your licence is taken away, not suspended, revoked. You go back to a provisional license and you must retake both the theory and practical driving tests before you can drive independently again. For an experienced driver, 6 points means you are halfway to a 12-point disqualification from a single offence. If you already have points on your license from a previous matter, one moment with your phone in your hand could take you over the threshold and into a driving ban. The enforcement is no longer limited to a police officer seeing you through the window. Cameras are now being trialled and deployed that can detect a phone in a driver's hand through the windscreen using artificial intelligence. The technology identifies the shape of a phone being held and triggers an automatic penalty notice. You do not need to be on a call. You do not need to be texting. You need to be holding the device. The action is simple and absolute. Before you start the engine, put your phone in the glove box, in your bag, in the door pocket, anywhere you cannot see it and will not be tempted to reach for it. If you use your phone for navigation, mount it in a cradle on the dashboard or windscreen before you set off and operate it only by voice. Do not touch the screen while the vehicle is moving. Not at a red light, not in slow traffic, not for 1 second. One touch, £200. 6 points, or your license, gone. So let me bring this all together. 1. Variable speed limits on smart motorways are legally enforceable, and cameras can fine you at every single gantry you pass, meaning one journey can result in multiple fines and up to 9 or 12 points. 2. Driving through a red X is a criminal offence enforced by automatic cameras with a minimum penalty of £100 and 3 points and a maximum fine of £2,500. 3. On an all-lane running smart motorway there is no hard shoulder, and if you break down in a live lane you must stay in the vehicle with hazards on and call 999, not get out. 4. Middle lane hogging is an enforceable offence carrying a £100 fine and 3 penalty points, and unmarked police vehicles are actively recording it. And 5. Touching your phone for any reason while driving carries £200 and 6 penalty points, and for drivers with less than 2 years on their licence, that means automatic revocation. 5 rules, 5 penalties. Every one of them is being enforced right now on motorways across this country. If this video helped you, I am going to ask you to do 2 things. Subscribe to this channel so that the next time a rule changes you hear about it first. And share this video with someone you know who drives, a partner, a son or daughter, a friend who commutes on the M25, a parent who still drives every day. You do not have to explain the whole video, just send them the link. Because one share, one conversation, one moment of making sure the people you care about know what the cameras are looking for, that could make a real difference. Thank you for watching, friends. I will see you in the next one.